The hot sun beat down on Amber right as she brushed dirt from an old pot. She was an average archaeologist who spent her days digging in the Arizona desert. Nothing exciting ever happened to her. That is, until today. The sky grew dark olive. A sudden, Amber looked up, shielding her eyes. A huge ship, shiny like crystal, hung in the air above her dig site. Her co-workers screamed and ran away, but Amber stood still, unable to move. She just stared at the massive vessel. A door of light appeared on the side of the ship. Through this door came the most beautiful being Amber had ever seen. The alien was tall and graceful, with skin that glowed and changed colors like the northern lights. Her face looked almost human, but not quite. And her eyes, they held what looked like tiny galaxies swirling inside them. "I am Queen Nixara of the Celestial Sovereignty," the alien said. But her mouth didn't move. The words simply appeared in Amber's mind. "Our machines detected something special in your brain. You have something we need very badly." Before Amber could even think of what to say, a beam of light surrounded her. In a flash, she was no longer in the desert. She now stood inside the alien ship. The walls seemed to pulse with life. Strange lights blinked everywhere. Queen Nixara led her to a small room. In the center, floating inside a bubble of light, was a smaller alien. It was clearly a child. The little one twisted in pain, its glowing skin flickering on and off like a broken light. "This is my daughter," Queen Nixara said in Amber's mind. "She is very sick. Our doctors cannot help her. But your brain is different from ours. You might be able to help her when no one else can." The Queen stepped closer to Amber. "In our culture, if someone saves the life of royal family, they must join our family. If you can help my child, I will take you as my wife." Amber's jaw dropped, open. She tried to speak, but no words came out. Her mind raced with questions. Why her? What could she possibly do to help an alien child? And marriage to the Queen? It was too much to take in. I don't understand," Amber finally managed to say. "I'm just an archaeologist. I dig up old things. I don't know anything about alien medicine." Queen Nixara's eyes swirled faster. "It is not your knowledge we need. It is something else. Something humans have that my people lost long ago." The alien child let out a cry that pierced Amber's heart. Though the sound was strange and not human, the pain in it was unmistakable. Without thinking, Amber stepped toward the floating child. "What's her name?" Amber asked softly. "She is Princess Lyra, future ruler of 17 star systems," the Queen replied. "And she is dying." Amber moved closer to the light bubble. The child's eyes, swirling galaxies like her mother's, focused on Amber. Despite the alien features, Amber could see fear in those eyes. It was the same look she had seen in the eyes of her little cousin when he was in the hospital after an accident. "Can I touch her?" Amber asked. Queen Nixara waved her hand and part of the bubble opened. Amber slowly reached in. Her fingers trembled as they got closer to the alien child's skin. The moment she touched Princess Lyra, a shock ran through Amber's body. Her mind filled with strange images, vast space battles, planets being destroyed, countless alien faces crying out. It was as if she was seeing memories, but they couldn't be her own. Amber fell to her knees, blood dripping from her nose, but she didn't let go of the child's hand. "What was that?" she gasped. "My daughter carries the memories of our entire species," Queen Nixara explained. "It is how we pass knowledge from one generation to the next. But something has gone wrong. The memories are too much for her young mind. They cause her great pain." Amber took a deep breath and stood up. She still held the child's hand. The shock of memories had lessened, becoming more like a gentle stream than a flood. "I still don't understand what I can do to help," Amber said. "Your species feels emotions differently than we do," the Queen said. "You experience them deeply, instinctively. My people evolved to favor logic and mind reading over emotional connection. But emotions are what my daughter needs to process these memories properly." Princess Lyra's grip on Amber's hand tightened. The child's skin glowed a bit brighter. Her twisting and turning had stopped, at least for now. "See?" Queen Nixara said. "She responds to you already." Several other aliens entered the room. They wore crystal armor that caught and bent the light. They bowed deeply to their queen. "These are my royal guards," Queen Nixara said. "They will show you to your rooms. You will stay with us while you help my daughter." "Wait," Amber said quickly. "I haven't agreed to anything yet. I need time to think. This is a lot to take in." The queen's expression didn't change, but Amber felt a wave of sadness come from her. "Of course," Queen Nixara said, "but please know that we do not have much time. And if you choose not to help us, we must continue our search. We have traveled to many worlds looking for someone who can save my child." As if to emphasize her mother's words, Princess Lyra began to twist in pain. Again, her skin flickered wildly. Amber felt a tug on her heart. She couldn't just walk away, could she? "I'll stay tonight," Amber said. "I'm not promising anything more, but I'll try to help if I can." Queen Nixara bowed her head slightly. "That is all I can ask." As the guards led Amber away, she looked back at the suffering child. What had she gotten herself into? Just this morning she had been an ordinary archaeologist. Now she was on an alien ship, being asked to heal an alien princess, with the promise of marriage to an alien queen if she succeeded. And the strangest part? Amber wasn't entirely sure she wanted to say no. Amber woke up in a strange room. For a moment she thought she had dreamed everything. But the walls around her pulsed with soft light, and the bed she lay on wasn't made of any material she knew. She was still on the alien ship. A gentle chime sounded, and part of the wall slid open. A female alien with armor that sparkled like diamonds stepped in. She was shorter than Queen Nixara, but had the same galaxy eyes. "I am Talara, head of the Royal Guard," the alien said in Amber's mind. "The Queen asks for your presence in the royal chambers. Princess Lyra had a difficult night." Amber got up quickly. She was still wearing her clothes from yesterday, dirt from the dig site and all. "I should clean up first." Talara pointed to another door. "There are washing facilities through there. I will wait." The washing facilities turned out to be a room where water fell from all directions. There were no knobs or handles, but the water was the perfect temperature. Amber found her dirty clothes replaced with a simple white outfit when she finished. Talara led her through hallways that seemed to shift and change. Other aliens bowed as they passed. Some looked at Amber with curiosity, others with what might have been hope. "How many of you are there?" Amber asked as they walked. "On this ship?" 5,000, Talara replied. "In our empire? Billions spread across 17 star systems. And you've never found anyone who could help the princess?" Talara's armor clinked softly as she walked. "We have searched 12 different worlds. Many have tried. None have had any effect. Until you." They reached a large door that opened by itself. Inside was a vast room with windows from floor to ceiling. Through the windows, Amber could see Earth hanging in the blackness of space, blue and beautiful. In the center of the room, Princess Lyra floated in her bubble of light. She looked worse than yesterday. Her skin flickered weakly and her small body shook with pain. Queen Nixara stood beside her daughter. She turned as Amber entered. "She grows weaker," the queen said, her mental voice filled with worry. "Will you try again?" Amber approached the bubble. "I'll try, but I still don't know what I'm supposed to do." "Follow your instincts," Queen Nixara urged. "Do what feels right." The bubble opened and Amber reached in. This time she was ready for the flood of memories. They still came, but she was able to stay on her feet. "Hi, Lyra," she said softly, using the child's name. "I'm Amber. I'm here to help you feel better." The alien child's eyes fixed on her. The swirling galaxies in them seemed to slow down a little. Amber thought about what she would do for a human child in pain. She began to hum a simple tune, a lullaby her grandmother used to sing to her. The effect was immediate. Princess Lyra's skin steadied its glow and her shaking lessened. "It's working," Talara whispered in awe. Encouraged, Amber began to sing the words to the lullaby. It was nothing special, just a simple song about stars and dreams. But Princess Lyra responded to it. Her small hand reached out and touched Amber's cheek. This time, instead of a flood of memories, Amber felt a question in her mind. It wasn't words exactly, more like a feeling of curiosity. She wants to know what you are doing, Queen Nixara translated. I'm singing, Amber explained to the child. It's something humans do to express feelings. This is a song my grandmother sang to help me sleep when I was little. Princess Lyra's eyes widened. Another feeling touched Amber's mind. A request. She wants more, the queen said, sounding surprised. For the next hour, Amber sang every song she could remember. Lullabies, folk songs, even some pop songs. Princess Lyra absorbed them all, her pain visibly decreasing with each melody. Finally, Amber's voice grew tired. I need a break, she said. As she stepped back, Princess Lyra made a sound, a small attempt to copy one of the tunes Amber had sung. It wasn't perfect, but it was recognizable. Queen Nixara's eyes swirled rapidly. Extraordinary. She is attempting to create music. Our species has no music. We never developed it. No music? Amber couldn't imagine a world without songs. How do you express feelings? We don't, Talara said simply. Feelings are considered primitive, something we evolved beyond long ago. We communicate with pure thought. Amber looked at the alien child, who was still trying to hum the tune. But feelings aren't primitive. They're essential. Maybe that's why she's in pain. She has all these memories, but no way to process the emotions that come with them. Queen Nixara moved closer to Amber. You may be right. Our children begin training at an early age to filter emotions out of the inherited memories, but Lyra has been unable to do so. Maybe she shouldn't filter them out, Amber suggested. Maybe she needs to feel them properly instead. Before they could discuss further, a loud alarm sounded throughout the ship. The walls flashed red. Talara's hand went to the weapon at her side. What's happening? Amber asked. Queen Nixara's face grew stern. We are under attack. The Void Dominion has found us again. The who? Our enemies, Talara explained quickly. They hunt the princess. They believe that by consuming her, they can gain all our knowledge without having to feel any of the emotions. The ship shook violently. Through the windows, Amber saw black ships appearing out of nowhere. They looked like holes cut into space itself. Take the human to safety, Queen Nixara ordered Talara. I must command our defenses. No, Amber said firmly. I should stay with Lyra, she was improving. Another blast hit the ship, the lights flickered. It's too dangerous, Talara argued. But Princess Lyra was becoming agitated again, her skin flashing wildly as the sounds of battle grew louder. She's getting worse, Amber pointed out. The attack is affecting her. Let me try to keep her calm. Queen Nixara hesitated, then nodded. Stay with her. Talara will protect you both. With that, the queen hurried from the room. More aliens in crystal armor rushed in, taking positions around the royal chamber. Through the windows, Amber could see the battle unfolding. The queen's ships were beautiful, made of the same crystal-like material as the main vessel. They fired beams of pure light at the black enemy ships, which responded with weapons that seemed to shoot darkness itself. Princess Lyra cried out, a sound of pure anguish that cut through the noise of battle. Amber reached into the bubble again and took the child's hand. It's okay, she said, though she knew it wasn't. Focus on me, not the fighting. The child's galaxy eyes locked onto hers. Amber began to sing again, louder this time, trying to drown out the sounds of war. Once upon a time, she improvised, turning her song into a story, there was a brave princess who was afraid of nothing. As she sang and told her made-up story, something strange happened. Princess Lyra's skin began to glow in patterns that matched the rhythm of Amber's words. It was as if the child was physically responding to the story. Look at that, Talara said, momentarily distracted from the battle. Amber kept going, weaving, a tale about a princess who saved her kingdom through kindness rather than fighting. As the story progressed, Princess Lyra grew calmer despite the chaos around them. The ship rocked again from another hit. Amber nearly lost her balance but kept hold of the child's hand. "Don't stop," Talara urged. "Whatever you're doing, it's helping her." So Amber continued her story, even as the battle raged outside. And as she did, she realized something important. She was no longer just trying to help an alien child. She was trying to save her. And somewhere along the way, she had begun to care deeply about what happened to Princess Lyra. Marriage to an alien queen still seemed absurd, but helping this child? That made perfect sense to Amber now. The battle lasted for hours. Amber's voice grew hoarse from singing and telling stories, but she didn't stop. Every time she paused, Princess Lyra would become agitated again. The child seemed to need the constant flow of human expression to keep the pain at bay. Finally, the alarm stopped. The walls returned to their normal color. Talara received a message through her armor and nodded with relief. "We have driven them back," she told Amber. "For now." Queen Nixara returned to the royal chamber. Her perfect appearance was now marred by a cut on her face that leaked blue light instead of blood. She looked tired but moved quickly to her daughters, sighed. "How is she?" the queen asked. "Better," Amber replied. "I've been singing and telling stories. It seems to help her process the memories." Queen Nixara studied her daughter carefully. "Her brain patterns are more stable than I have ever seen them." "What kind of stories do you tell her?" "Simple ones, fairy tales mostly. Stories about good winning over evil, about love and friendship." The queen's head tilted. "These concepts are difficult for us. We understand alliances and mutual benefit. But friendship, love, these are human ideas." "They're not just ideas," Amber said. "They're feelings, important ones." Princess Lyra made a small sound, reaching for her mother. The queen touched her daughter's hand briefly, then turned to Amber. "You should rest now. You have done much today." Amber was about to argue but realized how exhausted she felt. Her throat hurt and her eyes kept closing on their own. "Promise you'll call me if she gets worse?" The queen nodded. "I promise." Talara led Amber back to her room. This time Amber noticed the guard limping slightly. "Are you hurt?" she asked. "It is nothing. A minor injury from the battle." "Does it hurt?" Talara seemed confused by the question. "It is damaged. I will have it repaired." "But do you feel pain?" "What an odd question," Talara said. "Pain is just information. It tells me where damage has occurred." Amber shook her head. "For humans, pain is more than information. It's an experience. A feeling." "How inefficient," Talara commented, but she sounded curious rather than dismissive. When they reached Amber's room, Talara paused. "The queen did not tell you everything about the Void Dominion." "What do you mean?" "They do not just hunt our princess. They hunt all sentient life." "If they find Earth..." Amber's stomach dropped. "They would attack us too?" Talara nodded grimly. "They consume consciousness. They believe they are destined to be the only thinking beings in the universe. They have already destroyed 3 of our worlds." With that disturbing news, the guard left Amber alone with her thoughts. Sleep didn't come easily. When it did, her dreams were filled with black ships and a galaxy-eyed child crying out for help. Amber woke to the sound of her door opening. It was Queen Nixara herself, not Talara. "Forgive the intrusion," the queen said, "but Lyra is asking for you." Amber jumped up immediately. "Is she worse?" "No, but she refuses to sleep. She keeps making the sounds you taught her, the singing. We think she wants more stories." Amber followed the queen through the ship. The damage from yesterday's battle was visible everywhere. Walls were cracked and parts of the floor were blackened. Aliens worked quickly to make repairs. "How often do they attack you?" Amber asked. "More frequently now," Queen Nixara replied. "They can sense Lyra's power growing. Her connection to our species' memory is stronger than any royal child before her. That is both her gift and her curse." When they reached the royal chamber, Amber saw that it too had been damaged in the battle. One of the huge windows was cracked, though somehow it still held against the vacuum of space. Princess Lyra brightened, visibly when she saw Amber. Her skin glowed in a pattern that Amber now recognized as happiness. "Hi there," Amber said, smiling at the child. "I hear you've been singing." Lyra made a sound that was definitely an attempt at melody. It was haunting and beautiful, though unlike any music Amber had heard before. "She's creating her own songs now," Amber said, impressed. "Yes, and she has been making these as well." The Queen gestured to several glowing shapes floating near Lyra's bubble. They looked like drawings made of light, simple shapes and swirls of color. "She's making art," Amber explained. "Visual expressions of feeling, just like music is an auditory expression." Queen Nixara studied the floating artwork. "We have mathematics, and science advanced beyond anything on Earth. We can bend space and read minds, but we never developed art or music." "Because you suppressed emotions," Amber suggested. "We considered it evolution, moving beyond primitive responses to pure thought." The Queen's galaxy eyes fixed on Amber. "But now I wonder what we lost in the process." Over the next few days, Amber taught Princess Lyra everything she could about human ways of expressing emotion. She sang songs, told stories, and even tried to teach the child simple games. Lyra absorbed it all with amazing speed. More importantly, the princess's condition improved dramatically. Her pain episodes became rare, and her control over the inherited memories grew stronger. She could now access them without being overwhelmed. Other aliens became curious. Guards and servants would linger in the royal chamber, listening to Amber's stories. Some even began to attempt singing themselves, creating strange but beautiful alien melodies. "You are changing us," Talara said one day as she escorted Amber to the dining hall. "Many find it disturbing. Change can be scary," Amber admitted, "but it can also be good." Not everyone agrees. There are some who think the Queen is making a mistake, letting a human influence the princess this way. Amber frowned. "Are there aliens who don't want Lyra to get better?" Talara looked uncomfortable. "There are those who believe our old ways are best, that emotions are a weakness we left behind for good reason. And what do you think?" The guard was quiet for a long moment. I am beginning to understand why humans fight so fiercely for their homes. I never understood that before." That night, Queen Nixara invited Amber to dine with her privately. The food was strange, glowing fruits and crystalline vegetables, but tasty in a way Amber couldn't describe. "My daughter improves each day because of you," the Queen said. "Soon she will be well enough to begin her royal training." "I'm glad I could help," Amber replied. "She's a special child. And my offer still stands." Queen Nixara's voice was soft in Amber's mind. "In our culture, the savior of royal blood must join the royal family. It is our highest honor." Amber put down her fork. "About that, on Earth, marriage means something specific. It's about love, about choosing to spend your life with someone you care for deeply." "Love." The Queen spoke the word carefully, as if testing it. "Another human emotion we have forgotten. But I am learning." She reached across the table and touched Amber's hand. "I feel gratitude toward you. Admiration. Is that close to love?" "It's a start," Amber said with a small smile. "But marriage is a big step. We barely know each other." The Queen withdrew her hand. "Of course. I forget how short human lives are. You must wish to return to Earth soon." The thought of leaving made Amber's chest tighten unexpectedly. "Actually, I'd like to stay a bit longer, to make sure Lyra is really okay." Queen Nixara's skin glowed a bit brighter. "That would please us both greatly." Their dinner was interrupted by the sound of alarms again. The Queen stood up immediately. "They have returned. Sooner than expected." Amber rushed with the Queen to the royal chamber. Princess Lyra was already surrounded by guards. her bubble reinforced with extra layers of energy. Through the windows, Amber could see more black ships than before, much more. It looked like hundreds of them emerging from tiers in space all around the Queen's vessel. "There are so many," Amber whispered. "They have committed their full fleet," Queen Nixara said grimly. "They grow desperate as Lyra gets stronger." The first hits rocked the ship hard enough to knock Amber off her feet. The Queen helped her up. "Go with Talara to the inner chambers," she ordered. "It will be safer there." "No," Amber said firmly. "I'm staying with Lyra." Before the Queen could argue, a massive explosion shook the entire ship. The cracked window from the previous battle finally gave way. Air began to rush out into space. Emergency fields snapped into place instantly, stopping the air loss. But the damage was done. Enemy forces had breached the ship. "They are boarding us," Talara reported, checking her armor's communication system. "Multiple entry points." Queen Nixara's face hardened. "Prepare for direct defense of the princess." Sounds of fighting grew closer. Blasts of energy and strange screaming echoed through the corridors. The Queen and her guards formed a protective circle around Princess Lyra. Amber stood beside the child's bubble, trying to keep her calm with songs and stories despite the chaos. But this attack was worse than the last. Much worse. And even Amber was finding it hard to stay brave in the face of such danger. "What happens if they reach us?" she asked Talara. The guard's answer was chilling. "Then we all die, and Earth will be next." The sounds of battle grew closer. Amber could hear the hiss and crackle of energy weapons just outside the royal chamber. The guards tightened their circle around Princess Lyra, weapons ready. Queen Nixara stood tall, her own weapon, a staff that glowed with white light, held firmly in her hands. "They must not take my daughter," she said. "No matter the cost." Amber looked at the frightened child in the bubble. Despite all their progress, Lyra was slipping back into pain as the battle raged. Her skin flickered wildly, and her eyes swirled. With fear. "Wait," Amber said suddenly. "I have an idea." All eyes turned to her. "Lyra has been learning to process emotions through art and music, right? And she's getting better at controlling the memories?" "Yes," the Queen confirmed. "But what does that have to do with our current situation? What if she could share what she's learned? With all of you?" Amber moved closer to the bubble. "Lyra, remember how we practiced sharing feelings through your art? Could you share what you've learned with your mother and the others?" The child looked uncertain but nodded slowly. "It won't work," Talara said. "Our minds don't process emotions that way." "But Lyra's does now," Amber pointed out. "She's learned how, and she's telepathic, like all of you. Maybe she can teach you." A loud explosion shook the chamber doors. They wouldn't hold much longer. "We have nothing to lose by trying," Queen Nixara decided. She turned to her daughter. "Lyra, attempt to share what the human has taught you." Princess Lyra closed her galaxy eyes in concentration. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a wave of soft light spread out from her bubble, washing over everyone in the room. Amber felt it as a gentle touch on her mind. Nothing like the overwhelming flood of her first contact. For the aliens, though, the effect was dramatic. Talara gasped. The Queen's eyes widened. The other guards made sounds of surprise. "What is this?" one of them asked. "Emotion," Amber explained. "But controlled, channeled, like Lyra has learned to do." The chamber doors burst open. Strange creatures poured in. They looked like living shadows with only the barest suggestion of a form. Where faces should be, they had only swirling darkness. The guards raised their weapons, but something was different now. Their movements were more fluid, less mechanical. They fought not just with precision, but with passion. Queen Nixara herself was transformed. Her staff moved like a dancer's prop. Her attacks no longer just calculated, but creative and unpredictable. The shadow creatures seemed confused by this new fighting style, unable to anticipate the Queen's moves. "It's working," Amber shouted over the noise of battle. "They're using emotions as a strength, not a weakness." The shadow creatures pushed forward despite heavy losses. They seemed driven by a single purpose, to reach Princess Lyra. One broke through the line of guards and lunged toward the bubble. Without thinking, Amber threw herself in front of it. She had no weapon, no armor, just her body between the creature and the child. The shadow struck her, and cold like nothing she had ever felt seeped into her body. It was as if the creature was trying to drain her very life force. Amber screamed, in pain. Then a blast of pure light hit the shadow creature. It dissolved with a horrible shriek. Queen Nixara stood there, her staff still glowing from the attack. "Amber!" the queen cried, rushing to her side. It was the first time she had spoken, Amber's name aloud instead of in her mind. Amber tried to stand but couldn't. The cold from the shadow's touch had spread through her body. "I'm okay," she lied. "Protect Lyra." The battle continued around them. The Queen's forces were fighting better than ever, infused with Lyra's gift of emotional processing. But the shadow creatures kept coming, an endless stream of darkness. Princess Lyra watched from her bubble, her eyes fixed on Amber's weakened form. Suddenly, the child's skin began to glow brighter than ever before. She raised her small hands and the bubble around her dissolved. "Lyra, no!" Queen Nixara shouted. But the princess floated down to the floor and walked calmly through the battle. Shadow creatures reached for her, but beams of light shot from her hands, dissolving them before they could touch her. She reached Amber and placed her small, glowing hands on Amber's chest. Warmth spread through Amber's body, pushing back the deadly cold of the shadow's touch. "Thank you," Amber whispered. Lyra smiled, an expression she had learned from Amber, and then turned to face the remaining shadow creatures. She raised her, hands high, and light poured from them in all directions. It wasn't a weapons blast, but something else entirely. Music filled the chamber. Not human music, but something alien and beautiful. Along with it came images, projections of light that told stories without words. The shadow creatures froze in place, seemingly captivated by this display they had never encountered before. "What is she doing?" Talara asked in wonder. "She's communicating," Amber realized. "She's showing them emotion, art, music, all the things they've been missing." The shadow creatures began to change. The darkness that made up their forms lightened, becoming more translucent. Some reached out, not to attack, but as if trying to touch the beautiful images Lyra was creating. "They're responding," Queen Nixara said in disbelief. "They've never done this before. Always they only attack, consume, destroy." Lyra's display grew more complex, more beautiful. The story she told with light and sound was about connection, about different beings finding common ground. Amber recognized elements of the fairy tale she had shared with the child, but transformed into something uniquely Lyra's own. Slowly, the shadow creatures retreated. Not in defeat, but almost respectfully. They backed away from Lyra, from the queen, from the guards. Then they turned and left the chamber. "Are they leaving?" Amber asked, struggling to her feet with the queen's help. Reports came in from around the ship. The shadow creatures were withdrawing, returning to their black vessels. One by one, the enemy ships disappeared back through the tiers in space. "They're gone," Talara confirmed, checking her armor's communication system. "All of them." Queen Nixara knelt before her daughter. "What did you do, my child?" Lyra touched her mother's face and shared a thought. The queen's eyes widened. "She showed them beauty," the queen translated for Amber. "She showed them what they've been missing by consuming rather than creating. She offered them a choice. And they chose to leave," Amber said, amazed. "Not to fight." "This has never happened before," Queen Nixara said. "In all our long history of war with the Void Dominion, they have never retreated without being forced." Princess Lyra walked to Amber and took her hand. A gentle thought touched Amber's mind. Gratitude, and something deeper. Something like love. "You're welcome," Amber said softly. "I'm so proud of you." The next few days were filled with healing and rebuilding. The ship had taken heavy damage, but no more attacks came. The Void Dominion had truly withdrawn. Amber continued to work with Lyra, but now other aliens joined them. Many wanted to learn about emotions, about art and music and stories. Some were hesitant, clinging to the old ways. But more and more came each day, curious about this new path. Queen Nyxara called a meeting of her council. Amber was invited to attend, an unprecedented honor for a non-royal, let alone a human. "The events of recent days have changed us," the Queen announced to the gathered aliens. "For millennia, we believed that suppressing emotion was evolution. We were wrong. My daughter has shown us that emotions, properly channeled, make us stronger, not weaker." Some council members shifted uncomfortably. One spoke up, "But our entire civilization is built on pure thought, on logic. Would you have us abandon this?" "Not abandon," Queen Nyxara replied. "Enhance. Logic and emotion together are more powerful than either alone. My daughter proved this when she did what our weapons could not. She turned back the Void Dominion without destruction." The debate continued for hours. Amber watched in fascination as these advanced beings grappled with concepts that humans took for granted. It wasn't easy for them. Generations of evolution and cultural programming had taught them to distrust feelings. Finally, the Queen raised her hand for silence. "We will not force change. Each must find their own path. But the royal house will lead the way." She turned to Amber. "With help from our human friend." After the council dispersed, Queen Nyxara took Amber to a special room high in the ship. It had windows on all sides, offering a breathtaking view of Earth below and the stars above. "This is beautiful," Amber said. "It is our observatory," the Queen explained. "From here we study the universe." Princess Lyra was already there, creating artwork from light. She had grown stronger each day, her control over both her inherited memories and her new emotional understanding improving rapidly. "She will be a different kind of ruler than I am," Queen Nyxara said, watching her daughter with pride. "Perhaps a better one." Amber nodded. "She'll have both logic and emotion to guide her. That's a powerful combination." The Queen turned to face Amber directly. "And what of you? Will you stay to see what she becomes?" Amber looked down at Earth, so small from this distance. Her old life seemed very far away now. "I miss home," she admitted. "But I found something important here too." "Your work is not finished," the Queen said. "Many of my people wish to learn what you have taught Lyra, and..." She hesitated. "I too wish to learn more about these human emotions, particularly the one called love." Amber smiled. "That's the most complicated one of all." 3 months passed. Amber's life aboard the alien ship settled into a new normal. Each day she worked with Princess Lyra and other aliens who wanted to learn about human emotions. Each night, she spent time with Queen Nyxara, teaching her about Earth cultures and learning about the celestial sovereignty in return. Their dating was unlike anything Amber could have imagined back on Earth. Sometimes they walked through gardens where plants made of crystal grew and changed colors with the thoughts of those nearby. Other times they visited different parts of the massive ship, where Nyxara would explain the advanced technology that powered their civilization. Amber's favorite dates were when they used the Queen's personal transport to visit Earth secretly. They would land in remote areas, deserts, mountains, forests, and Amber would show Nyxara the natural beauty of her world. The Queen was always fascinated by Earth's wildlife and weather, things that didn't exist on her crystal worlds. Princess Lyra often joined them on these trips. The child had grown stronger and more confident. She no longer needed her containment bubble. The inherited memories that once caused her pain were now a source of wisdom that she could access without suffering. But the most remarkable change was in the aliens themselves. More and more of them embraced the teaching Amber offered. They learned to create art, to sing, to tell stories. Some struggled with these new concepts, but many took to them eagerly, as if rediscovering something long lost. "My people are changing," Queen Nyxara said one evening as they stood on the observatory deck. "Some fear this change. They think we are becoming weak. Emotions don't make you weak, Amber replied. They give you strength in different ways. The Queen's hand found hers. I know this now. I feel it. Their relationship had grown deeper over the months. What began as curiosity had become genuine affection. Amber still found it strange sometimes, falling for an alien queen with skin that glowed and eyes that contained galaxies. But the heart didn't care about such differences. One day, Talara brought news that changed everything. The Void Dominion has made contact, the guard reported. They wish to speak with Princess Lyra. Amber was immediately concerned. Is it a trap? We don't know, Queen Nyxara admitted. They have never sought dialogue before, only conquest. After much discussion, they agreed to the meeting, but with strict safety measures. It would take place on neutral territory, a small uninhabited moon in a nearby star system, and Princess Lyra would be protected by the Queen's best guards, including Talara. Amber insisted on coming too. Lyra might need me, she said. No one argued. The journey to the moon took only hours in the Queen's fast ship. Amber watched through the viewport as they approached the meeting place. The moon was barren, just rock and dust under a black sky, filled with stars. The Void Dominion representatives were already there. They had physical forms now, still dark, but solid rather than shadow-like. They stood beside their black ship, waiting. Queen Nyxara led the way, with Lyra walking beside, her and Amber just behind. Guards formed a protective circle around them. We speak for the Dominion, one of the dark figures said. Its voice was strange, like whispers layered on top of each other. We have come to understand what the young one showed us. Princess Lyra stepped forward. Her mother tried to hold her back, but the child was determined. She raised her hands and images made of light appeared between them and the Dominion representatives. The images told a story of two peoples fighting for so long. They had forgotten why, of fear and misunderstanding, of the possibility of another way. Yes, the Dominion speaker said. This is what we saw. This is why we withdrew. We have existed in darkness, consuming knowledge but never creating. The young one showed us creation. Queen Nyxara seemed stunned. Are you proposing peace? After millennia of war? We propose learning, the speaker replied. The young one offered to teach. We wish to accept. All eyes turned to Princess Lyra. The child nodded solemnly. She cannot go with you, Queen Nyxara said firmly. We do not ask. This, the speaker assured her. We ask for exchange. Knowledge for knowledge. Creation for creation. And so began the most unlikely peace talks in the history of either civilization. For hours, Princess Lyra communicated with the Dominion representatives through images, music, and the telepathic abilities both species shared. Amber watched in amazement. The child she had helped to heal was now healing the ancient wounds between two powerful civilizations. It was more than she could have ever imagined when she first stepped aboard the alien ship. When they returned to the Queen's vessel, celebrations broke out throughout the ship. Word spread quickly. The war that had raged for thousands of years might finally be ending. That night, Queen Nyxara came to Amber's quarters. She looked both happy and troubled. What's wrong? Amber asked. This is wonderful news. It is, the Queen agreed. But it means change for our people, greater change than I had anticipated. She sat beside Amber on the bed. The council is divided. Some embrace this new path. Others fear it will destroy everything we have built. Change is always scary, Amber said. But sometimes it's necessary. Yes? The Queen took Amber's hands in hers. And there is another matter I must discuss with you. A more personal one. Amber's heart beat faster. What is it? When you first came aboard, I offered marriage as payment for helping my child. I did not understand then what marriage meant to humans. Queen Nyxara's eyes swirled with emotion, something that would have been impossible months ago. I understand better now, and I wish to ask properly. She slid from the bed to one knee, a human gesture she must have learned from Amber's stories. Amber Wright, would you join your life with mine? Not as payment, but as partnership? Not because of our customs, but because I have grown to love you as humans understand love? Amber's eyes filled with tears. Part of her still couldn't believe this was happening. She was an ordinary archaeologist who had been digging in the dirt just a few months ago. Now an alien queen was proposing to her. What would it mean? She asked. Would I stay here? Would I ever see Earth again? You would be my consort, with all the rights of royalty, Nyxara explained. We would divide our time between my worlds and Earth. In fact, I have been considering establishing an official presence on your planet. The first steps toward bringing Earth into the celestial sovereignty, with their consent, of course. Ambassador to Earth, Amber mused. That's quite a career change from archaeology. Is that a yes? The Queen asked hopefully. Amber looked into those galaxy eyes and saw her future there. It wouldn't be easy. There would be challenges, misunderstandings, cultural differences to navigate. But there would also be wonders beyond imagination, discoveries, growth, and love. Yes, she said simply. It's a yes. Queen Nyxara's skin glowed with joy. She rose and pulled Amber into an embrace. Their first kiss was gentle, strange, and wonderful, a perfect symbol of their unlikely union. The royal wedding took place a month later. It was unlike any wedding in human or alien history. Representatives from Earth were invited, carefully selected scientists and diplomats who had been gradually introduced to the existence of the celestial sovereignty. They sat side by side with aliens from all 17 star systems under Queen Nyxara's rule. Most surprising of all, a small delegation from the Void Dominion attended. They stayed at the back, still uncomfortable with crowds and light, but their presence was a powerful symbol of the new era beginning. Princess Lyra played a special role in the ceremony. She created art with light that told the story of how Amber had come aboard their ship, healed the princess, and in doing so helped heal an entire civilization. As Amber stood before Queen Nyxara, speaking vows that combined human and alien traditions, she thought back to that day in the Arizona desert. How shocked she had been when the alien ship appeared. How speechless when the queen had offered marriage in exchange for helping her child. She hadn't been able to find words then. But she found them now, as she pledged herself to this extraordinary being who had changed her life as much as she had changed the queen's. Later, at the celebration that followed, Princess Lyra approached Amber with a gift. It was a small crystal that glowed with inner light. What is it? Amber asked. Lyra placed it in her hand. Immediately, Amber's mind filled with images, not the overwhelming flood of her first contact, but a gentle stream of memories. The child was sharing her perspective of the past few months. Amber saw herself through Lyra's eyes, a strange alien who had brought light to darkness, who had taught a child how to transform pain into art. She felt Lyra's initial fear, then curiosity, then growing love. The last image was of the three of them, Amber, Nyxara, and Lyra, standing together under Earth's blue sky. A family unlike any other, but a family nonetheless. Thank you, Amber whispered, hugging the child carefully. I love you too. That night, as celebrations continued throughout the ship, Amber stood with Queen Nyxara, her wife now in the observatory. Below them, Earth turned slowly, beautiful and blue. Are you happy? Nyxara asked. Amber smiled. Beyond words. You? Humans and your words, the Queen teased gently, always needing to explain everything. Hey, those words help save your daughter and end your war, Amber reminded her. Never underestimate the power of a good story. Queen Nyxara's arm slipped around Amber's waist. Indeed. And we are just beginning our story, are we?